with the government's management of the pandemic that has seen total lockdown measures prolonged.
Meanwhile, in another statement, the Malay Rulers are unanimous in stating that there is no need to extend the Emergency Proclamation beyond the 1st of August. Keeper of the Rulers' seal, Tan Sri Syed Daniel Syed Ahmad, said the Rulers also agreed that it is important for the government to be stable and earn the confidence and support from majority of the people. Companies will not be allowed to transfer the cost of vaccinations to workers under the Public-Private Partnership Industrial COVID-19 Immunization Program, or PICAS. International Trade and Industry Senior Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Azmin Ali reportedly said companies seeking to participate in the program will also have to bear administration, personnel and security costs. PICAS kicked off today with on-site vaccination at designated factories and industrial locations in the country. Some 150,000 vaccine doses would be made available under the pilot program. So far, more than 500 companies with nearly 106,000 workers had applied to take part. Azmin added that companies must shoulder the responsibility of ensuring workers in the program complete the vaccination process. PICAS, Azmin said, is open to foreign workers too. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, when visiting the Texas Instruments Malaysia Vaccination Centre today, said he expects that PICAS would be able to control the spread of COVID-19 in the manufacturing sector, which will assist in the implementation of the National Recovery Plan. Malaysia recorded 5,151 new COVID-19 cases today. This brings the cumulative infections in the country to over 673,000 cases. Meanwhile, another 73 deaths related to COVID-19 were recorded in the past 24 hours. The number of active cases has continued to trend downwards and has gone below the 70,000 mark for the first time since May 26. However, the number of COVID-19 patients who need intensive care is still creeping upwards, with 924 patients in ICU as of today. According to Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, the emergence of new COVID-19 variants is complicating the recovery of patients, especially in the ICUs, because the new variants are causing more severe symptoms at a faster rate of deterioration. China has agreed to contribute 500,000 doses of the Sinovac COVID-19 vaccine to Malaysia. Foreign Minister Datuk Sri Shammuddin Hussein hopes this gesture will further strengthen ties for the mutual benefit of both countries.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General.
He also welcomed Japan's provision of AstraZeneca vaccines to Malaysia. Japanese Foreign Minister Toshimitsu Motegi yesterday announced that the vaccines manufactured in Japan will be given to Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines and Thailand as early as July. Hishamuddin expressed his gratitude towards the two countries for their generous contribution and believes that the provision of vaccines will greatly assist Malaysia's national COVID-19 immunization program. Sarawak is taking a step further in dealing with infectious disease by allocating 200 million ringgit to build a research centre. Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg said today that the research centre would be of international stature and will begin construction this year. According to him, the development of the centre is to ensure outbreak preparedness and to spearhead the fight against future pandemics in Sarawak. It will be equipped with state-of-the-art equipment and biosafety level 3 laboratories to allow research and development on BSL-3 infectious agents and subsequently product testing to ensure commercialization of research and development output. Abang Johari said the centre would also complement and collaborate with the Health Ministry in tackling infectious diseases in Sarawak and would bring together talents regionally and internationally. Meanwhile, helicopters that are normally used to fly doctors to settlements in the interior of Sarawak will now be used by the state government in order to pursue its target of vaccinating 80% of its population by August. Sarawak Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg said that the service, with the cost to be borne by the state government, would be used by mobile vaccination teams. The teams have also used river transportation before to reach settlements that could not be accessed by road. He added that the number of PPVs in the state would also be increased to achieve the target of vaccinating 50,000 people a day. A total of 110,380 doses of vaccine will arrive tomorrow in Miri, Bintulu and Balaga, while another 350,000 doses will arrive in Kuching this Friday. We'll take a short break. Stay with us.
Untuk semua pelanggan Astro, nikmati tontonan komplimentari untuk semua saluran tertera. Juga di Astro Go hingga tarikh tertera.
Have been waiting for more than 12 hours. Oxygen.
Hiburan berganda dengan stream seleksi istimewa on demand.
Maharaj!
So cool!
Kekal selamat, duduk di rumah.
Welcome back. Human beings are social creatures that require human-to-human interactions in order to stay sane, said psychiatrist at Makota Medical Center, Dr. David Yeo Boon Beng. According to him, with the effects of the pandemic that resulted in massive changes economically and socially, more and more Malaysians are developing mental health issues. Dr. David weighs in on the long-term psychological effects of the pandemic and how to tackle it.
The social interaction will be an issue and later on because now everyone is stay at home. They don't communicate much with, they don't socialize much with their classmates or with their friends. So they may not be able to socialize so well in future to come with the young generation. So I may see that might be an issue. And of course, we cannot deny the mental issues. Mental means like because of this COVID, everybody in fear, everybody anxious. So I'm sure that some of them will develop anxiety and depression. I mentioned depression, anxiety, or maybe some OCD or obsessive compulsive disorder.
Dr. David said a lot more needs to be done to help those suffering from mental issues. This includes family, friends and educators getting more involved and normalizing talking about emotions within close circles.
You see students every day online because now we are on this web teaching now. So if it's good that the teacher can focus a bit on their emotional parts. So we can prevent suicide or any depression or any anxiety because they need someone to talk about it. Of course, the parents also. Parents can do their parts also. So let's talk about emotion. I think my silver lining is like, don't hesitate to talk about our emotions.
US President Joe Biden sits down for the first time with Russian President Vladimir Putin since taking office. The talks in Geneva, Switzerland come at a time when both sides describe relations as being at rock bottom. Among issues expected to be discussed include arms control, sanctions, and US allegations of Russian cyber attacks and election interference. No major breakthroughs are expected, but there are hopes of finding small areas of agreement. The meeting comes on the tail end of Biden's first foreign trip as US President, in which he has also attended meetings with G7 and NATO leaders in the past week. Israel airstrikes attacked Hamas in Gaza in the first fire attack since the end of an 11-day violence last month. The violence poses an early test for the newly elected government of new Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, who pledged to focus on socio-economic issues and avoid sensitive policy choices towards Palestinians. The overnight violence follows a march in East Jerusalem yesterday by Jewish nationalists. Hours before the overnight strikes, thousands of flag-waving Israelis congregated around the Damascus Gate of Jerusalem's Old City before heading to Judaism's Holy Western Wall, drawing Palestinian anger and condemnation. Israeli military said the strikes came in response to the launching of balloons laden with incendiary material, which Israel claimed had caused 20 blazes in open fields in communities near the Gaza border. Meanwhile, analysts suggested Hamas refrain from firing rockets around the march and after the Israeli strikes to avoid an escalation in Gaza. Beginning July 1st, all European Union member states will have to recognize a COVID-19 travel certificate as the bloc gears up to revive free movement and opens up for international travel. Belgium officially began using the certificate today, which can be in paper or digital form. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen presented her digital European Union COVID-19 travel pass to the press ahead of a trip to Portugal. The certificate contains data as to the person's COVID-19 vaccination status, current negative PCR test or confirmation that the person has recently recovered from the disease. The certificate has a QR code containing the necessary information and a digital stamp aimed at guaranteeing the authenticity of the document.
We have right now 15 member states that have
South Korea is 2 weeks ahead of its vaccination target after inoculating a quarter of its population with at least one dose of COVID-19 vaccine. This puts the country on track to meet a target of 70% by September. The milestone follows a stepped-up inoculation drive that saw an average of 650,000 doses of vaccine administered daily. Despite facing a slow start, South Korea is seeing growing willingness among its population to get vaccinated, boosted by increased supplies. Health authorities, however, warn against easing rules on social distancing. Just 6.7% of the population of 52 million is fully vaccinated. Has a day filled with anticipation following the Special Rulers meeting hosted by His Majesty ended in a workable resolution about the triple crisis. Tonight on Consider This, we speak to veteran political observers about taking the country forward. That is all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Get the latest news update on COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccines from astroawani.com and Astro Awani app. I am Fahana Sheh. We'll see you tomorrow.